Well, I came along last year's demonstration, and I was reminded by something I heard on the radio this morning that it was being repeated today. And so I came along, and it seems a lot bigger than it was last year. It's always very good to see so many young people, but it's people across the whole age range, really. But it really feels as if there's some kind of elan now, as if it's on the takeoff.
I suppose I just feel sometimes people think that the little man can't do anything and that we just have to rely always on the government to make changes. I suppose the reality is that if general public opinion changes, then government or industry will probably follow suit. I guess I just feel it's good to march just to increase the numbers of people, and I think that helps to make a difference. Yeah, I guess we've got a responsibility to try and make the planet a better place for our son. So we don't want in 20 years' time, when he says to us, "Where were you, what were you doing?" we want to be able to say that we did what we could.
You know, the government keep promising action on and stating that they know climate change is the biggest threat to the world today, and yet they still expand runways, they still build new coal power stations, they still take oil from all over the world. They're turning natural rainforests into biofuels. They don't provide cycle lanes. Nothing is going on. Just rhetoric. It's just a lose-lose position that they're adapting. Banks, our whole economy is collapsing. Peak oil is coming. If we lose 5% of oil, then there'll be an even bigger economic catastrophe. And yet they're still investing just through banks. They're still investing just through massive corporations, rather than looking at what we actually need for people. Nothing been invested in alternative technologies compared to what we need. We know the truth, you know the truth. Actually do something to make the world a better place.
I'm here today, I represent my village of Harmondsworth, which is 3.5 miles from Heathrow Airport. We are situated where the third runway will be going, so we're fighting against the third runway. We have always been good neighbours with the airport, but we think that it is an expansion too far, and there is no guarantee that it won't go any further. And we feel now that the industry is actually damaging the planet, and we are all asking to make sacrifices, and yet the industry seems to be the only one to get away with it.
But no one listens, sorry, they don't. That our planet will just be in despair and destruction in about 10, 20 years, basically. That is it, in a nutshell, basically. We won't have anywhere to go, we'll all be dead.
When you come to things like this, it encourages you to do more and not to worry that you're on your own in your own village or your own town doing it. When you come to things like this, you see and you get encouragement to do more, to carry on. Doing as much as we can, for as long as we can, to get it altered. Like this banner you've got, Stop the Nuclear Fuels. If we stopped all of the nuclear things, we'd have a lot more money. And also, if we stopped all these armaments, we'd have a lot more money as well to do what we're supposed to be doing, caring for each other.
Well, I was on two of the three anti-Iraq war marches, and I'm afraid our government did not pay attention to those marches, and if it had paid attention, the history of the modern world would have been very different. So I hope people will pay attention to this, because if not, then things are going to get very bad. The man who runs the campaign against climate change said on the radio this morning about the government, he said, the government must not be distracted by economic issues at this time. We have to continue with environmental initiatives, because it's like somebody about to be run over by a steamroller stopping to pick up a £5 note. And I think that was a brilliant way of putting it. And I agree completely.
This is really serious. It is far more serious than you realise. And we've got to do some really quite radical things in the future. We've got to start learning how to live more lightly on this planet, and we've got to start doing it today. We should have started doing it about 20 years ago, but that option's no longer available to us. We've actually got to start doing it today, and it's going to be really interesting. And the great thing about it is going to be that life will suddenly become more purposeful, because we are the last generation that has a chance of protecting the future for future generations. We're the last generation. If we leave it to the next generation, it will be too late.
Well, in the early 1980s, I read the Green Party manifesto, and I then decided to vote Green for my 4 grandchildren. And I do believe this is the most important thing in the world now. As you're walking, you become one person in the crowd joins in with everyone. Sometimes you feel like a lone voice in the wilderness, you know, and then you realise there's thousands of others. Yes, very inspiring.